Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Real Estate Private Equity Show. I'm your host, 𝗖𝗍𝗶 Benesocky, and I'm joined by my co-host, August Biniaz. Guys, we're really excited about our show today. But before we get into it, can you please like and subscribe, as it helps us build our channel and allows us to keep bringing you great content and expert guest speakers. Now, today we are joined.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Jump in?
No, go ahead. No,
I want to say the guy's name here,
Absolutely.
Charlie Wessel.
Yes. Absolutely. Just want to say, I appreciate everybody watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. A quick story about Charlie I want to touch on. So Charlie and I were supposed to have a meeting a while ago. This was right at the beginning of COVID.
Okay.
So there was all these conspiracy theories out there that COVID is not real. And, do you know anyone who has COVID? And I kept thinking about it. I'm like, I don't actually know anyone who's had COVID. I might have heard about it, but not physically seen somebody get ill from COVID.
Okay.
And Charlie and I were supposed to have a meeting. He never made it to the meeting. And then I see a video of him in a hospital a very bad state.
No way.
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
And it was shocking to me. And that was one of the there was multiple realization moments through that COVID time when it comes to personal life and like the way you're looking at the situation. But him being in the hospital, a guy I was supposed to have a meeting with, and that meeting got canceled. So
it got
very
real
interesting.
Real quick, right?
But he's very active on social media, on LinkedIn. So we've been watching him. He manages a real estate private equity firm. So we can't wait to get into a conversation with him. But let's tell our viewers a little bit about Charlie.
Yeah. Okay, guys. A little bit about Charlie. He's the founder of 𝗖𝗍𝗶 Capital. Charlie also founded and managed several successful companies in the Charleston, South Carolina area. We love Charleston, South Carolina. And he has also been involved in multifamily commercial real estate in one aspect or another since 2006. He's an active investor since 2016. He set up 𝗖𝗍𝗶 Capital to bring private equity to investment opportunities. Now, 𝗖𝗍𝗶 provides conservative underwriting and extensive due diligence on investment opportunities to ensure a conservative approach to investing and building wealth alongside investors. Now, currently, 𝗖𝗍𝗶 owns 486 stores in the multifamily space, a total of roughly $38 million of assets under management. Congratulations. Now, we believe this interview with Charlie will bring value to both passive and active investors looking to learn how real estate investment firms are founded and grown. Furthermore, the audience can learn, this is really cool, how Charlie uses virtual assistants to scale his company. So without further ado, Charlie, welcome to our show.
Welcome, Charlie.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here. Yeah, man. And COVID whipped my tail. It got me bad. So yeah, I was in the hospital for 11 days.
Oh no, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I was watching him, and I wished him prayers to get better, and he did, and he made through it. But
now he's looking healthier than ever on our show, and
absolutely.
And we're really excited to dive into your mind and get started. But Charlie, maybe you can start off by telling us, about your background and then your start in real estate, please.
Yeah, for sure. So moved to Charleston about 18 years ago. Started a general contracting firm here in Charleston. And we grew it really, really big and had a great time doing it. But then I had little kids, and I still have little kids. I have a twin 8-year-old girls and a 12-year-old boy. And I'm a wonderful wife of 21 years now. And it took a lot of time to run a lot of people in this general contracting company. And I just knew there was something I had to do to spend more time with my family. So I ended up selling that company and starting a very small roofing company just to have something to do at the time. And I hired a guy that's been running that now for about 4 years. And he's done tremendous with it. So I still, I keep my thumb on it. I'm involved in it about an hour a day, if that, really just checking reports and making sure everything's going okay. And but yeah, I'm full time in private equity now, and I love it. I mean, we're all investor relations here. We partner with sponsors to bring capital into their opportunities. And so, yeah, I mean, investor relations, how fun is it, right? I mean, I'm playing golf with guys like 2-3 times a week. I mean, this is the fun aspect of the business for sure.
Absolutely. They talk about surrounding yourself by, you are
the five people
the
you
five
hang
people
out
you
with.
hang out.
Yes.
And if all those people are accredited, that's a good sign,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. Now, a couple things you said, Charlie, and I want August to kind of dive into this with you because you were a general contractor as well. And
Yes.
I seen kind of a little bit of him working his magic in that business. And my God, there are so many moving parts. It is such a headache almost every single day. And it's not an easy thing to take on. And it's not, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe it's not that enjoyable.
It's not as glamorous as people think because a
Yes.
GC is at the focal point. All the pressure is on a GC if it's on, developing or building single family, multifamily, commercial, residential. There's nobody, there's no one else to, shift the blame on. If something goes wrong, it's the GC's fault. If I build a single family home and the homeowners walk in and there's a problem with the hardwood floor, I can't say, oh, the hardwood floor guy messed up. It was my job to make sure they don't mess up. That was my main part of my job. If the drywall is, there's an issue, there's a paint. So as a GC, you're at the focal point. So it is a difficult job. But another item to touch on that, very important, is that by being general contractors, a lot of times we work very closely with developers. And there's a lot of times there's a confusion between developer, builder, a general contractor. People just assume they are the same. They're not. The developer literally shows up to the party, hires a designer, hires a GC, and sits back and reaps the benefits. Now, when I was a GC on single family and eventually multifamily, I saw that the developer, that's who I wanted to be. I wanted to be the developer rather than being the GC because I was doing all the work. They were taking all the benefit, but the only thing that was missing was access to equity. That was the only difference between me and the developer. So was there, while you were in the GC space, at what point did you realize about real estate private equity, particularly multifamily value add, which is not ground up development, but an existing asset? Did something pique your interest? Did you see the possibilities and the amount of growth that exists in this space and kind of say, hey, this is where I want to put my focus? Talk to us about that journey.
Absolutely. So yeah, as a general contractor, I mean, you're only as good as your weakest sub. So, there was always an issue, with some subcontractor. So yeah, I was really looking forward to get out of it. But also who I worked for, because we did more office remodeling than new construction building. That was kind of our niche or whatever here in Charleston. So we work with a lot of commercial brokers. We work with a lot of commercial building owners. And like you said, these commercial building owners were the ones driving the really cool cars to the job, to come and just walk around and be like, oh, it looks great. Cool. Way to go. You're building this out for a tenant of ours. So I knew really early on that was where you needed to be. So we started buying houses, single family rentals, because I was like, hey, these guys own real estate. This is real estate. Same thing. No, not at all. Not the same thing at all. Like, we had a good handful of single family rentals and it was just a nightmare. So one of my buddies that we did a lot of work for was a commercial broker downtown. And I went and sat in his office. I called him up one day because I saw he had a listing for a building for $20 million. And I was like, hey, how can I go buy that building? And he was like, listen, man, you need to get some buddies. You guys raise some capital, get together and go buy a building like that. He said, but the safest bet out there is going to be multifamily housing. And he said, it's got the great returns. I mean, this was in like 2017. So he was like, which it still does have great returns. It's still the safest bet out there, but, so that's kind of what got me down the path of multifamily investing.
Incredible. What we early on realized when we made this switch, myself from being a general contractor, developer, Ava from being an agent into this space of real estate private equity, focusing on multifamily. Early on, we realized that there was so much of our time and resources being spent on cultivating and nurturing relationship with investors that at that stage, it didn't really make sense for us to be involved in acquisition and management side of business as well. And we realized that this is a common structure used in this space. When I did research on the institutional side, I realized that the Canadian Pension Fund had partnered with Greystar, one of the largest, I think the largest multifamily operator in the US, to buy and build multifamily. So this was already happening on the institutional side. So I'm like, hey, we can mimic the same process. And I soon realized that this business is a team sport, but to be able to build that access to equity, to be able to raise capital in itself is an art. In itself, it is a business, it's a machine that you need to build. Talk to us about early on. How did you go about connecting with investors, building that relationship, and then then we'll discuss on how you brought the deals to them. But talk to us about that early on, the journey connecting with investors.
Yeah. So it was a lot of phone calls, and I did it the wrong way, really. I mean, it was a lot of phone calls and Excel spreadsheets. And, that gets jumbled up really quickly. So I knew that, from listening to other podcasts, I knew that a lot of my friends that had podcasts had a lot of virtual assistants. And I didn't even know, I knew they were going to come in and help me kind of organize everything and keep it all straight and everything. But I didn't really know how until I called Rocket Station. We got a VA, and she's been a rock star for 2.5 years now.
Oh, nice.
And she helped me set up, our CRM. She helped me set up so many different things that just, gave us the rocket fuel to move forward in what we do.
Exactly. The great thing about bringing on VAs, particularly VAs that have experience and expertise in your space, that whatever space that you're in, is that they have experience with other groups that might be, farther ahead from you. So they can bring on initiatives, resources, platforms to use to make, your business grow. So CRM, I mean, you talk about spreadsheet, but using a CRM is much more comprehensive and detailed. So talk to us maybe about about the first deal. So now you're connecting with investors, you bring on a VA, you're building a brand around yourself. People are reaching out to you. Talk to us about now the deal side. Did it start with a region first? Did it start with an operator? Did it start with an asset class? How did you go about finding the right deal for your investors?
Well, it all started in basically 2018 with me teaming up with one other person or two other people, and we went out looking for opportunities. We were underwriting our own deals. We were underwriting deals day and night. I mean, it was ridiculous. I was meeting with brokers. We were going to tour properties. We made it to the best and final in a handful of them, but we got awarded one deal, and it was in Florence, South Carolina. I mean, seriously, tertiary market. I know because I grew up there. Oh, okay. But and that one fell apart in due diligence. So then that's when around 2020, when everybody started talking about capital raising, and I was like, that's what I want to go do. I don't want to chase brokers around. I don't want to go walk a bunch of properties. I'd rather go team up with somebody that's already crushing it, that already has a great, track record, and go team up with them and bring some capital to their deal. And so I met the first one at a conference in Washington, D.C., right outside of Washington in Virginia. And we did a couple of deals together. And then we joined Raise Masters, and there is just a slew of great operators in there, as well as capital guys and gals. And we, it's kind of taken off from there. I mean, this past opportunity, I went from raising, I thought coming out the gate, I was like, oh yeah. I mean, I'm a member at the country club. This ain't gonna be that hard. You know what I mean? I know guys with plenty of money. I mean, I play golf every week with a retired Major League Baseball player. He's got money, and he's still never invested in any of our deals yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is just totally fine.
I would actually invest on his. I would invest on his behalf and just say, "Can we just leverage you investing with us?"
Yeah. I know it. So he, but yeah, we went from where I thought I could raise, that first deal, I was like, I can probably pull in 500,000. No, not even close. Like I brought in 100 grand. I was embarrassed really. And to this last deal, we brought in $2 million. So, I mean, it's been fun. It's been fun growing it.
That's amazing. It's funny. I know when you get started in the, again, we were kind of talking about how capital raising is like an art. You have to be really, it's something that, my job at this company is to raise capital, but you got to be good at relationships. And you, Charlie, seem like that's where you flourish. You're like, I'm on the golf course with these people. I get to create those strong relationships with others, and that's kind of what it takes, because you need to build that know, like, and trust in order for somebody to cut you a check.
One more very important thing that he is also doing, which he just breezed over, is the fact that he's immersing himself in the industry. When he talks about met an operator at an event, well, he had to go to that event. He had to book it. He had to buy tickets. He had to fly there. He had to be around those people.
Yes.
Raise Masters is not free. It's a costly endeavor to go and join that platform. But that's the whole idea of immersing yourself within this industry and connecting with the right individual. And that's time. That's sweat equity that you got to put into to be able to connect with the right operator.
And I wanted to just quickly, if you don't mind, I wanted to go back to your virtual assistant. How many virtual assistants do you have? And do you have your machine created where you kind of, post stuff online and people sign up to your CRM and now you're nurturing them? Like, talk to us a little bit about that, because you are passionate about raising capital and partnering with operators. So talk to us about how you run your company.
I am. And after the 5th deal where you're wearing your buddies and your family out for money, like they're all running out of money. Like I've had 2 of my biggest investors that invest $100,000 in with us every deal. I mean, this will be their 6th deal. And they're like, Charlie, I'm tapped out, buddy. Like, this is all the money I set aside for that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, these guys are always, definite guys. So yes, we do have a pretty good machine set up. Gaining traction with that machine is like a totally different animal. But it is, we are pumping out social media content. I mean, this is probably, I don't know, the 25th, podcast I've been a member on and, or a guest on. And it's fun. This kind of stuff is fun to me. I love meeting you guys. I love seeing you because, I've seen you guys in several of your other YouTube videos because I watch you guys and other people as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always nice to stay informed. I mean, I listen to podcasts still to this day on the radio in my truck. That's what I do.
Do you 2X it? Do you 2X it when you listen to them?
1.5X, 2X, yeah.
I don't. No, I don't. I should, but I don't. You know what? I probably will from now on. Now that you say that, but yeah. I mean, like you said, immersing yourself in this industry, it's a fun business. It is. It's full of super sharp people that are motivated to go out, kill something and drag it back to the cave, man. I mean, it's fun seeing people out there doing a lot of deals. And, the good thing about it is these people are making a lot of money. I mean, we make good money. You know what I mean? I mean, we bring capital to deals. We make good money. Our investors make good money. And yet we are still grinding every day. And I love it. I love it. I mean, I couldn't just play golf every day. I could play it 2 days a week, but I couldn't play it every day. But this is, I don't know. It's the fun of it's the challenge for me to go out and get it. But yeah, as far as the machine goes, we're posting every day. We have a LinkedIn campaign going on. It's a direct message campaign through LinkedIn. We just started it a couple of weeks ago. It hasn't gained a ton of traction yet, but I'm a very impatient person.
Yeah.
So everybody's like, you got to give it a month, man. It'll happen. I'm like, no, I want it right now. Let's go.
Quick question for you on the LinkedIn campaign. Is the goal to get people on a call with yourself or your investor relations team? Is that the goal of that campaign?
It is. Yes. To get on a call with me and let's talk it out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can't see me. You can't see my office here, but it's about 20 feet long that goes that way. And I have a putting hole way over there. And so I throw in the AirPod and I sit there and chip balls in my office as I'm talking on the phone the whole time.
Nice.
That's awesome, Charlie.
Yeah.
You know what, Charlie? I want to touch on something. You know, it's crazy. 2020, I sent out a message to get on a call with people on LinkedIn, and they're just getting on a call with me now. They've just
Really? See, that's awesome.
consistently
Yeah.
seen my content, and they're like, "Hey, wait a second." So consistency is key. Unfortunately, you can't give up. You got to just keep doing it, and then eventually those messages, they'll come back around to it, and they'll press that button to book a call.
LinkedIn is a gold mine to anybody
gold
watching
mine.
it, and you want to, you're in business, or you want to grow your business, or you want to get into this space. You need to have a LinkedIn account. This SEOs are so powerful that you'll end up on, as soon as somebody Googles your name, your LinkedIn will pop up.
Yes.
That page will act as your basically homepage of you.
Of who you
so,
are,
and then you can connect with professionals. Most people that are, on LinkedIn are not there to watch twerking videos, right?
Yeah.
They're business people. So the demographic is a bit different than Instagram and other platforms. Okay, let's talk about growth and the future.
Yes.
You've
What
made
regions are you looking at? All
yeah,
that
you've
kind of
made
fun
the
stuff.
transition from being a GC, a business owner, to a real estate investor, single family, to being involved in real estate private equity, which is much more sophisticated, building brand, building a company, putting in strategies together. Where do you see the growth going? Because guys like us, like me and you, because of our general contracting background, it's the pride that kicks in for us just to be involved on the capital raising side. We want to get our hands dirty. We want to get involved on the operational side. Is that something that you're looking to pursue at some point, to get involved or grow your company enough to have an operational side to it? Or are you you're happy where you are? Talk to us about that.
I'm really happy where I'm at. I really am. It's one of those things that I learned from the general contracting business. Be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. And, I always told all my family and buddies, I was like, man, I'm gonna have this big general contracting firm. Well, I got it. And it was a gigantic pain in the ass. And, as far as growing this business is concerned, I'll be honest with you. I mean, to me, business is business. Really, whether you're running a Baskin Robbins, a general contracting firm, or a capital raising firm, it's all business. You have to abide by certain, you just set up, like you said, you got to set up a machine somehow, some way in each business. I mean, my roofing company, we only work for property management companies. It's just easy that way. We don't have homeowners calling us. We don't have our names on our trucks. I mean, setting it up like that out the gate kind of helped me to be, and setting up a CRM in that company and how we were going to operate. And I put a cap on our sales every year because, I don't want a big roofing company. Really, it's almost just like an ATM machine to me now. I mean, it really is. It's just something that's there. I know it's running. I check the reports every day, but that's about it. And it's, so I'm thinking the same thing along the lines of the capital raising. It's just setting up that machine. I do want to grow in terms of, I would like to hire 1 to 2 more VAs this year. And then by next year, I would like 1 to 2 stateside employees. They don't even have to be here in Charleston. They would probably like to be here in Charleston because we do live in an awesome place.
You do.
But they don't have to be here in Charleston.
Yeah.
But, I would like for, one of them to be, investor relations guy or gal. And it's, we'll get there. I have no doubt.
Good for you.
What it seems is that you cherish your time, because if you're looking to, scale and grow, then your time is going to be depleted. So I think it's very important for you to have time freedom.
3 kids, 2.
I'm telling you, man. I mean, my son's baseball and soccer and everything else. I mean, that totally trumps everything. That trumps the roofing business. That trumps Cordell Capital. I don't care what's happening. I'm going to be there, and I'm not going to look at my phone while I'm there.
Amazing.
It's just not going to happen. So
Beautiful.
I got a guy that, he's called me and he's like, hey man, I really want you on our podcast and this, that, and the other. And dude, I'd love to be on your podcast. Matter of fact, we reach out to people to be on their podcast. Yeah. And the only times available is like Wednesdays at 7:00. And I was like, nah, man, it's like Tuesday through Thursday, 9:00 to 4:00. That's your shot.
I love that you time.
I'm not going to be on your podcast.
Yeah, you time block and you stick to those. You stick to those blocks of time, and that's how you can have your pure focus during that 9 to 4, and then the rest is family time, and that creates for a successful business and a successful personal life as well.
Absolutely,
so
absolutely. Absolutely.
A few more questions before moving to the next segment of our show. Talk to us about regions. What are the regions you believe in? If you had to pick a top city to invest in, if you had a magic wand today and you had a great deal with a great operator come across your desk, where would you want that city to be?
You know, man, I this is going to sound weird, but I bet on the jockey, not the horse. So I'll be honest with you. You know, we've invested with Logan Freeman and FTW. I mean, they're out of Kansas City. I flew up to Kansas City last month. I was there for a few days. We played golf. We went and visited one of the properties we invested in Des Moines, Iowa. I had guys here. I had investors here that when I told them we had a property in Des Moines, Iowa, they were like, is that even in this country? I was like, yes, man, it's Iowa. They were like, yeah, well, you know, we can't go drive to go see it like the property we're in Greensboro. I'm like, have you ever driven to the property in Greensboro? Because we've owned it for a couple of years. And you put quite a bit of money in, and not a single one of them had ever driven there, you know? So right now we're investing with Rob Beardsley in, Lone Star Capital. Well, those guys just focus on Houston. I don't really care about Houston. I care about Rob Beardsley and what I know they can perform at in that market, you know? So I know that he knows the market knows him, and he owns his own property management company that manages all their properties there in Houston. So yeah, would I rather be investing in Charleston, South Carolina? Absolutely. And we can ride by and be like, hey kids, we own that guy. Yay. It's not going to happen. There's, it's just, I invest where I believe in the sponsor.
Right. Yeah, who has the track record, who has, possibly exited projects, who've gotten their investors incredible returns.
Absolutely.
You know what Absolutely. I mean? So amazing.
Perfect. All right. Any other questions before we move to the next segment of our show for Charlie?
I'm excited to dive into Charlie's mind about with our 10 championship rounds to financial
scary
freedom.
Place, guys. It's a scary place.
Well, let's start off with the first question here, Charlie. Number one, who is the most influential person in your life?
My father. My dad is just one of the most wonderful men I've ever met. As a matter of fact, I named my son after him.
Oh, that's nice.
And my grandfather is Robert Edward Wessel Sr. My dad is Robert Edward Wessel Jr. And my son is Robert Edward Wessel III. I tell everybody, I'm like, you can only do that if you're English royalty or a redneck from South Carolina. That's the only time you get to skip a generation.
Nice. That's awesome. All right, Charlie, what's the number one book you'd recommend?
Recommend. Man, there's a bunch of them. Who Not How. I'll throw that one out there. I know a lot of people say that, but once again, it goes back to your time.
Yeah, Dan Sullivan. Okay, that's a really good one. I actually recommend that one too when I'm on different shows. So nice one. Yeah. All right, if you had the opportunity to travel back in time, what advice would you give your younger self?
Another answer everybody's going to say, but get into real estate a lot younger.
Yeah, nice.
But I'm teaching my kids about it now. I talk to them about this all the time. My mom we were with my mom for her 70th birthday a couple of weeks ago. And my son loved to go in there and help her cook and stuff. And she's like, oh, you could be a chef at a restaurant. I was like, no, he can own the restaurant.
Yeah.
I said, and then he can go cook whenever the hell he wants.
Yes.
I said, but he doesn't have to be tied to that paycheck or that schedule. I said, so, I got you, kid. I said, we'll get you on the right path, buddy.
That's amazing.
He probably should raise capital and then open a restaurant with investors' capital and then run it and then bring in a manager. So he's syndicating a restaurant operation.
Isn't that something though, to have like a dad who literally can kind of show you the way about real estate investing? We all wish we had that, but our parents didn't know any better, right?
And not just in real estate investing, but just taking the reins themselves, you know? I mean, I really want to teach my kids that they can make their own destiny. They don't have to, you know, abide by the world's rules, and, you know, they can set out and do their own thing, man.
Dogma. Absolutely. Even worse than rules. These limitations we put on ourselves without there to be it's not a written rule, but just think that, hey, I can't do this, or this is not for me, or I'm not good enough. So
sky's the limit.
Absolutely.
All right, Charlie, what's the best investment you've ever made?
I would say 𝗖𝗣𝗜 Capital. I put a lot of money into this. I put a lot of money into, you know, I mean, before we were making any money, I mean, you know, we'd made a little bit of money, but not much. And I hired the VA full time, you know, bought all, I think she's got us signed up for like 10 different yearly subscriptions to all kinds of stuff. But it's definitely been the best money I've spent. I mean, you know, just the LinkedIn campaign. I think I just paid like $9,000 for the LinkedIn campaign. That's why I wanted it to happen yesterday. But that, pumping money into Raise Masters, you know, I mean, it's a decent amount of money that we spend every year, but the returns are just ridiculous.
Yeah, your return on investment is well worth it.
Absolutely.
Now, what's the worst investment you've ever made, and what lesson did you learn from it?
Okay, I still have it actually. It's a 2021 Can-Am X3 like side by side. So this is like a hyped up dune buggy on steroids. It's got like 200 horsepower. And I think I got about 51 grand wrapped up into this thing already. I mean, me and my kids, we have so much fun on it. My kids, we all have dirt bikes. Not my wife. My wife wants nothing to do with any of it. But me and all my kids are like adrenaline junkies. So, you know, we go have fun on that thing on the weekends. But I just listed to sell it. Or I called a guy that sells these things the other day. He's a buddy of mine. And I was like, hey, you think you can sell this thing? I mean, you know, we were using it a lot when we first got it for like the first year and a half, and hadn't used it for a while now. And he's like, yeah, I think I can sell it for about 28 grand. I was like, what? I was like, oh my gosh. Like, that is by far the worst investment I've ever made. But
yeah,
it's been fun. So, you know, I don't know.
At least you guys had fun with it. It didn't just buy it, park it, and then not use it at all. So that's good.
Right.
All right, next question, Charlie. How much would you need in the bank to retire today? What's your number?
Oh, I'm bougie. I need, you know, I am. I know I don't sound like it, but I got more clothes in the closet than my wife does. So yeah, it would take at least $20 million in the bank for me to even think about it, really.
Nice. He's bougie. I love it.
I'm bougie.
All right.
Even at 5%, 20 million, that's $1 million a year, right? And that's like 100K a month almost.
There you go. Not bad. Yeah. Okay. So sorry. If you could have dinner with someone dead or alive, who would it be?
You know, I'm gonna keep it sentimental, girl. I'm gonna say my granddaddy.
Nice.
I loved him. He was a good dude. So I'd have to say my granddaddy, and he's been passed away for probably 20 years now.
Okay. Oh, beautiful. Okay. If you weren't doing what you're doing today, what would you be doing now?
Fishing. Yeah, I'd probably be, you know, if I'd have never found out about this, the construction trade would have drove me so crazy that I'd have went and bought a sport fishing boat and just been a charter boat captain. I'd have been like, come on, guys, let's go fishing every day.
Nice. All right. Book smarts or street smarts?
Oh, street smarts all day.
Yeah. Nice.
I made it through almost a year of college. So
almost.
A year. Last question, Charlie. If you had $1 million cash and you had to make one investment today, what would it be?
Into my next deal.
Nice.
Nice. There you go.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Okay, right on. So if you could just let everybody know, Charlie, what is the best way that they can reach you?
𝗖𝗽𝗶𝗁 I'm all over LinkedIn and Facebook at that's Charlie Wessel, 𝗖𝗽𝗶𝗁. And yeah, give me a shout. I'd love to chat.
And 𝗖𝗽𝗶 is CORDELL for all our podcast listeners.
It is LL. That's right.
Hey, Charlie, we really appreciate you being here today, being transparent, sharing us, your journey and adding value to our audience. Really appreciate it. I'm glad that, you got better after, being sick with COVID a while back, and looking forward to meeting you in person someday soon. So really appreciate you being here, man.
Thanks, Charlie.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you for having me.